And you're watching Rootstv Nigeria. We are live at the Situation Room of YIAGA Africa watching the vote. Now, this Situation Room is where the 3,906 observers that have been deployed to the 774 local governments in Nigeria bring in their information. Now, as you can see, people in the background, they are basically taking these phone calls, taking this report, cataloging this report, and that is what would now lead to a proper observation. And later on, they're going to have a parallel voting tabulation to collate the results of each polling unit as they have observers on ground. Stay on Rootstv to get this updates and more. With me here is the programs director, Cynthia Ngamalu. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Give us some sort of a summary of how the election started, what you've observed.
Okay, thank you. So this morning we deployed our polling unit observers. Watching the votes, we have a total of 3,906 observers deployed. But for our stationary polling unit observers, they are about 3,076. And reports from our polling unit actually has one that we have more reports on late commencement, one late opening of polls and late commencement of accreditation and voting across board at different polling units. And one of the things we had looked at was so at 7:30 a.m. we had tracked arrival of polling officials, and we had observed that only 31% of the polling units across the nationally now had officials present, and by 10 o'clock we had also tracked that only 41% of the polling units were open. Had more opening within the north and the least in the south and the southeast zone, with the southwest having the most polls open at 52%. But if you look at zones like the southeast zone and the south zone, we had 21 and 27% of the polling units open. But by 11:30 a.m. we had more openings across board. Still, we had 86% in southeast, so southwest rather has more of the polls open. Beyond that, one of the things we had observed is also reports of some observers not allowed to observe. And we had sent out a report trying to talk to the local authorities to allow the observers observe. We had one of our observers in Kafanchan detained, and after speaking with the DPO, he was released. And so one of the things we're a bit worried about is just polling officials not respecting the fact that observers are actually allowed to observe, accredited observers. We had reports of ballot box snatching in Okrika local government in Rivers State. It was from the rack, we had the elections materials, actually not just the ballot box snatched, and we had also made that report and called on the Electoral Commission to look into that.
Tell us more about the status of the PVT that you're going to use to track this vote.
Okay, so I will keep providing observation reports on the process. One would be providing updates today on the accreditation and voting, but the PVT will be verifying the accuracy of the results after INEC announces its elections result, the official result. So our observers would remain at the poll from the commencement of polls to the last activity, which is the posting of results at the polling unit, and they'll be sending us reports of the results from each of the polling units where they observe. And we're committed to exposing any fraud observed in the process.
All right, thank you very much for your time. And now you've been listening to the project director of YIAGA Africa watching the vote. Stay on Rootstv as we bring you more updates on this presidential and National Assembly elections.